guys, welcome back to Simply Fujica, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to another video. If you are new to this channel, welcome. Guys, before we go any further, can you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button? Make sure you hit that bell notification so that you're notified every time I release a new video. And last but not least, make sure you like the video. Alright guys, let's get started. So in today's video guys, we are going to discuss the different types of insurance that is required not only for you to get licensed, but to ensure that you are operating your business in a manner that you are covered in the event an incident happens. So we are going to define the different types of insurance types. We're going to make sure that we have adequate coverage for each type. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then stay tuned. So in general, you guys are asking me, what are the insurance requirements so that I can obtain my home care license? So the first question that I get a lot from you guys is, what is general and professional insurance, and are those the same? So to answer that question, the answer is no, they are not the same. And although the answer is no, the difference between the two policies are what they actually cover. Professional liability is more to cover the more abstract risks that are associated with your profession. So if you think of your profession, what are some more common risks that may be associated with your profession? That's what this insurance covers. And I will actually give you a little bit more scenarios as we get deeper into this conversation. The last insurance that we're going to cover on this video are your workman's comp. Now, for some reason, you don't really hear that being discussed. But as a result of you employing a person, if they were to get injured on the job, your workman's comp policy will address that injury. And what that looks like is if that person has to go to the doctor, if that person is now taken off their job, or they're unable to report to the job because of this injury, this is where your workman's comp policy kicks in to ensure that this person receives a portion of their salary or a portion of their wages while they recover. And so the scope of these policies will depend on the amount of coverage that you get and the type of policy that you select. A second question that I get from a lot of you is, so do we need both insurances? And the answer to that is absolutely. You're going to need both. And I'll actually answer that in a different way. In general, if the business that you run is presented with both risks, so could you potentially have an employee that's injured while they're working? Can you potentially make mistakes? Could there potentially be property damage or physical damage to a client, a patient? If you're answering those questions with yes, then that would indicate that most likely you're going to need all those insurances. And then in terms of what's mandated by your state, it's going to be different depending on your state. In the state of California, we will go through those specific requirements later on in the video. Different states have different requirements. There are some states that don't require insurance at all. I really urge you to go to whatever your governing authority is, really do a quick search, do some research into what are those requirements in order to operate your home care agency. I wanted to make sure that I stressed that to you guys in this video. So an extension to that question is, should I still get the insurance if my state doesn't require it? Okay, so there are two schools of thought. Some people will say if it's not required, I'm not getting it. However, I want you guys to put your owner hat on, because remember, anything that happens that's associated with your business, it is my opinion that you should have coverage for that, because you leave yourself exposed whenever you don't have the appropriate insurances for any activity that is associated with your business. But I would say the third biggest question that I get is, how much insurance should I have, and how much is it going to cost me? So if you're in the state of California, I've got you covered. If you are not, and if you are in a state that doesn't require you have any insurance, according to this malpractice attorney, he's saying you should have as much insurance as you can afford. Now, understanding that whatever you can afford is a general in terms of the coverage in general, guys. So again, you're going to need to do your own research, but in general, this malpractice attorney is saying, hey, as long as the policy covers about the $1 million range, you should be good. And guys, don't be offended by that number, because I know you guys are thinking $1 million, how much is that going to cost me? You're going to see very quickly here that it doesn't cost as much as you think it does. Another item that I wanted to say with you guys is your business is now an asset for you. This is something that you've put a lot of energy, a lot of sweat and tears into, you know, not only putting together, but now standing up and you're ready to operate. So you want to make sure you're protecting your asset. You want to make sure that you're protecting it at all costs so that it can continue providing you the return that you desired when you decided to go into business for yourself.
Okay, so unfortunately it looks like the voice recording didn't pick up when I was actually recording, so I'm going to share with you now. You are essentially looking at my desktop. Of course, you guys know that whenever I look for regulations, I go to the the California Department of Social Services. Their website is cdss.california.gov. I'll make sure that's linked in the description box so you guys can pull it up later. But essentially what I'm doing here is I want to share with you what the regulations say as it relates to insurance. What does the state say that we need to have for the state of California? So from here, you see that I'm going to the home care organization application process. We're then going to click on the actual application form, which is the HCS 281 form. And this is the actual document that defines Section A and Section B. For the purposes of this video, we're actually only going to look at Section B, and we're going to look at B6 specifically because that's what details the insurance requirements. And as you can see, B6 lets us know that in order to satisfy the requirements, we need to have a certificate of general liability and professional liability insurance in the amount of at least $1 million per occurrence and $3 million in aggregate. The certificate of workman's compensation policy has to cover those affiliated home care aides that are affiliated with your actual agency. The certificate must include the following: the policy number, the effective and expiration date of the policy, the name and address of the carrier, the name and address of the broker or agent, and then, of course, the policy limits that we just discussed.
Okay guys, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's video and I hope it was a value add for you. We are constantly trying to raise the bar and figure out different ways of delivering the content for you to ensure that you are ready to present yourself for licensure. Guys, don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you're notified every time we drop a new video. Okay guys, that's all I have for you today. Stay blessed.